Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Uptown Vinyl Supreme is a DJ collective founded in the Bronx and based in the Bronx. And what we do is we stick to the roots of analog culture, music, disc jockeys, and our mission is to bring vinyl to the people and create safe spaces for folks of all color and genders to get down.
My name is Rainy Cruz. I also go by DJ Brujo Boogie. And I like to call myself an artist, a creative. I went to school for communication and journalism, and I just wound up not really following the path I thought I was going to follow, actually following the path that I wanted to follow, which is art and music and creativity and fashion and style. So what I do for a living is I DJ, and I also do creative work, like freelance work. I work on websites, I work writing, blogging, all kinds of different things that kind of just keep me afloat and keep the bills paid.
My name is Sunny Vasquez. I go by Sunny Cheeba, and I also like to consider myself a multi-dimensional creative. I dropped out of college at the age of like 19, 20, and I think that was the best decision I've ever made because it allowed me to find myself again. I felt like I was trying to conform into this identity that people wanted me to be. And when I left school, I kind of was just able to have that freedom to go and explore the things that I did love as a child, you know, museums and galleries and art and music. And after that, I started curating art shows with my friends, and after that, curating music showcases. And then in doing those things, I always loved music, and I was always considered somebody in good taste in music. I grew up with young parents who played everything from Prince to Wu-Tang, so I had a very eclectic sound. And I picked up DJing because I felt like I just wanted to share my knowledge of music with others, and it's taken us here.
UVS was born out of, I would say, like necessity. I remember Sunny Cheeba and one of our other partners, Buddy, they threw a jam in Kingsbridge at a local bar called Magoo's, and I saw them, and these were my friends, you know, and I saw them DJing and playing records. And at that time, I used to play records in college, and I had learned how to DJ in high school, but I had put it away because I didn't really, I didn't like playing top 40, but I saw them playing at the bar, and I was so inspired because they were playing in front of their friends and playing what they wanted, and it just felt magical, it felt natural. And after that happened, like I tapped them and I said, yo, whenever you're doing the next one, let me know because I want to be down. And I think that was like the birth, the official birth of Uptown Vinyl Supreme, for sure.
That was my first time ever DJing out in public, actually. It was August 11th. A friend and I had curated a music showcase, showcasing local artists and musicians that we knew. And I decided just to bring my turntables out and do the after party, and I told Buddy to come with some records, and that was the first time I ever played, and that would be my 3-year anniversary this year, August 11th, DJing in public. I was kind of the person who was like, hey, let's do this party, because I was tired of going to parties that I didn't connect with. People were playing music that I don't know, like I wanted to create an organic space where people were actually dancing, you know what I mean? Not just like being cool on the wall with their, two-step and b-boy stance. I really just wanted to create an environment that was open to all types of music, and music that was also in a way uplifting and historical, and music that your mom played when you were in the house cleaning or something like that. So it was created to have this party in the Bronx where people actually got down and had fun and wasn't too cool for anything, you know. So then I hit up Rainy and I hit up Buddy and I was like, yo, let's throw this party. I'm a goose. And then I was like, Rainy, can you help me pick a name? It has to have vinyl and Uptown in it. And from that moment, he gave me like 3 different names. And I was like, Uptown Vinyl Supreme is it. And he threw the flyer. And from then on, it's kind of like, through the feedback that we got from the first party, we just felt like, okay, let's throw another one. And then when people were like, oh, when you do another one, like, okay, let's throw another one. And then from then on, it just like was kind of like, it just took off.
Yeah.
It just felt like it was a need. Like people wanted to go to a party that felt like that. That felt like you were time traveling through sound. That's what it felt like, really.
Yeah, it took on a life of its own, to be honest. Like I think, you know, you planned that one party, but then the reactions and the way people responded, and these were our friends and our community also mixing in with people that were their friends, and like it kind of grew organically. And yeah, it kind of kept asking us to come back to it, and it felt good to kind of have a purpose. I feel like, you know, picking out records and taking them and sharing them with people. So it definitely took a life of its own. You know, UVS kind of guides us, so we don't guide it, I would say. The impact that UVS has on the Bronx is a reconnection, like a remembering, you know, getting back to the roots, you know, which is what we strive to do. Again, our philosophy as Uptown Vinyl Supreme is vinyl to the people. You know, these are records that come from the people, come from the Bronx, music that comes from the Bronx, artists, musicians that come from the Bronx, you know, from your Curtis Blows to your Melly Mel's. And I think the way that impacts us is our confidence and our self-esteem, you know, as people, that sometimes we don't all have titles, sometimes we don't all make the money that we think we should make, or that, you know, television and the world tells us we need to make. But to have this craft, you know, to have hip hop born in the Bronx, I think it's something that, you know, it's an honor. I know I can speak for myself and probably for the whole crew that it's an honor to be able to play music that represents us. So to bring it back full circle, to bring it back around to the Bronx, for the Bronx, from the Bronx, I think that's how we serve the community. That's how we serve the Boogie Down.
And I also feel like we hold space for people to just come and let go of whatever it is they've been going through during the week, whatever stresses they have, whatever they need to burn off. They come and they let go on the dance floor. And I feel like we've created a safe space for people who look like us to get down. And that's something that was brought to my attention at one of my parties, because, you know, we throw these parties and we're having fun. And then somebody came up to me and it was like, you don't understand that you guys are really creating a safe space for people of color, queer, trans, whatever you are, to have fun. And there's not that many spaces that allow that inclusivity in the Bronx. And there are places that do that, but I feel like what we're doing is so minimal but so big at the same time, you know? We're just holding space for each other and for creatives to come together and meet. And there's so many connections that have been built at our parties, and people who are collaborating, meeting for the first time at our parties, and I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah. And to add to that too, I would say, like, just vibrationally, music is healing, you know? Like, you know, Sonny said, it's a place to let loose, and then those vibrations, those songs were, you know, the artists, when they created them, there was a message in them, and that message still keeps getting relayed. And those vibrations help people. They, like, physically, like, I've seen people that, like, come with canes, or like we're sitting down in kind of like a wheelchair. We've played in senior citizens' homes, and we see them get up and dance, and like, that's amazing. And so that's you know, therapeutic, that's healing, that's again, it's just reinvigorating the community. So we like to bring that. We like to come with it when we play.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Well, I don't feel like. I think the truth is that music is the universal language of love. So it doesn't matter what age you are, whatever you grew up in, what borough you're from, where you sleep. Like, music is able to connect us all. And it's so interesting playing some records that the story is still true to this day. The struggles that we're going through back in the day, it's still happening today. So listening to those records together, we get to kind of like, oh shit, like, you know, we still have a lot of work to do. It's a reminder.
So, you know, hip hop, born, I guess, officially or unofficially in 1977, after the blackout in New York City, and, you know, so much equipment was acquired during that time. You know, I don't want to say how that equipment was acquired, but it just was. And, you know, the Bronx especially was a borough that was devastated by so many things, you know, deliberately, you know, from governmental policies, redlining, you know, highways being built, neighborhoods being divided. And to this day, you know, we still have new dangers, gentrification, economic colonialism in a sense. All of that to say, you know, all of that being the perfect storm that created what we now know as hip hop, which is, you know, a global culture. It is the global culture, you know, like, it's like in the papers, on the media, like it's the biggest thing in the world. It's the only art movement created by youth, you know, and like it's been around the world and back and still going, and so much money being created and jobs and opportunities. And it's its 45th birthday this year. And a lot of us take it for granted. And being from the Bronx, you know, even me, like I still remember times where I was down and I didn't really know like what I wanted to do or where. Not realizing that, you know, I come from a place and a people that are so resilient, you know, so ingenious and creative enough to birth hip hop, you know, something that you can just do right in the park. Like, you know, yo, you got a system, yo, you got some music, let's put them together and let's play and let's see what happens.
For any future goals, I think us having a space would be really cool in the Bronx, whether it be a venue space or a record shop or a community center, or just something that allows people to come together with music, with community. I feel like that has always been a dream for me. So maybe a record shop with a venue in the back space, that's always been a dream. I think it's definitely possible. And besides the locality, I feel like traveling, you know, bringing music to the people all over the United States, all over the world, because the records we're playing are from all over the world. So why not bring it back to the resources, to the places that they were created?
Yeah. And we also see ourselves working more in depth with vinyl itself. Like, we play these records and then there's music, but then there's so much to it. Like, vinyl is such a, because it's analog, like it's got an art to it. It's got, you know, a certain kind of feel and a style. And we're thinking about, you know, in the future, like pressing our own records, or you know, so many of our friends are actually musicians. Some of our partners are musicians. People that we play with are bands, local bands like Boom Bits from the Bronx. And we want to support them, and we feel like vinyl, again, bringing vinyl to the people kind of like is that full circle, you know, that record. So we want to eventually press records and like share that with the world, and work with other artists that might want to share their music with our audience and never thought of maybe going from digital to analog, kind of in reverse, you know. So we kind of foresee that, you know, Uptown Vinyl being something that generates vinyl for the world, you know, vinyl to the people, for sure.
And once you press something on vinyl, it lasts forever. Finding a thrift shop in 2040, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's longevity.
Yeah.
It's history.
Yeah, I could see it. Like, you know, you see those like sci-fi movies. I really have thought about this. Like, you know, we got music on our phones and on computers, but I don't think computers and digital things will last, you know, like in the future. And I feel like I could see like a scientist or someone pulling up like an old record and like playing it like on a groove, and literally like they'll hear that, you know, because analog, it's just not gonna go away, you know, it's gonna be there. So
if I had to give advice to someone, I would say to not feel pressured by society and believing that you can't be what you want to be, because at 27 years old, I'm finally thinking like, oh, I can actually be a living artist, you know, because I've been taught or told that I can't do what I love for the rest of my life. So whatever it is that you love, you can do it. You just have to believe, be consistent, and find your tribe.
I would say best piece of advice, and you know, it might be cliche, but definitely listen to your heart. You know, listen to, you know, what it is that makes you excited. You know, so many times we live our day to day, like Sunny was saying, being pressured by like what we might need to be, and sometimes, you know, we have to make money and we have to pay bills, but then there's more. There's definitely more to it, and you can find a way, and that's what it's about, you know, that sacrifice for yourself, for your soul, you know. Listen to your heart, you know, whatever attracts you makes you, you know, like only you have that unique flavor, you know, only you really like that song and then that other song, and put them together, and only you can do that your way. So I would say that, and also a good quote that I've been using lately, and I don't know who said it, but it's just like, don't let defeat, don't let praise go to your head when you do a great job, and don't let defeat go to your heart. And just kind of stick to your guns. Allow yourself to create, to fail. You know, failure is good. Failure lets you come up with new stuff, you know, and let it go. You know, let it go. Don't judge yourself. I used to be a person that used to judge myself really heavily. And even when I started DJing, I used to feel bad when I like messed up, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I stopped. But then it took me like finding friends or finding my tribe through UVS to understand that, hey, you know, no one's here to judge you, no one's here to blame you. Like, you know, there's that record messed up, or you didn't, like, you know, play another one. Like, life goes on, you know. Life is a series of records. You can throw on another one, you know. So yeah, listen to your heart and stay inspired.
One last thing, I would say, remember your inner child. Talk to your inner child. That inner child is always there, and all the things that you were attracted to when you were a child are the things that you will probably find again, because all the things that I was into when I was younger are all the things I'm doing now. If I would have just stuck to that, who knows where I would have been, but all the choices I did led me to here. And something that my friends are always telling me is just remember your inner child. Hug them, talk to them, heal them, because that is somebody who's always living with you. So.
A Bronx studio or a Bronx space made for Bronxites is hip hop, you know, is for us, by us, you know, that mentality of, you know, gather your resources. Like, oh, you know, you have a light, you know, you have a camera, you know, let's put them together and let's create, let's feel welcomed, let's have a safe space where we can speak and come out and gather and let loose and build, you know. So I feel that, you know, a Bronx-centric studio is very much hip-hop, very much hip-hop.